Alright, welcome back to Big Moe's Kitchen. Don't forget to subscribe to Big Moe's Kitchen 2026. And this is the second half of our veggie stir fry. And what I have here is some grapeseed oil that I've got going. I like grapeseed oil because it has a high cooking point. And I've separated our veggies. I have the bell peppers, which I'm going to add first here. The reason I'm going to add the bell peppers first is because I want to make sure that they get tender enough for my audience. I like mine a little crispy, but my other audience person that's going to be consuming this meal is my mother. So I'm going to make sure that I add the harder vegetables first. So the sequence that I'm going to use here, and if you listen to my wording, I use the word sequence. I used to be an engineer, so I'm a retired engineer. And I'm doing my cooking show now, so this is always a dream of mine. So I'm doing cooking. So I have my audience is going to be me and my mom today. So for the protein, I actually am doing a baked chicken, a baked sweet applewood chicken, which I will show you at the end as well, which is in another cooking show, but today we're going to focus on the stir fry, okay? So we're going to make sure that's good and coated. I can add the squash, but I'm going to give this a few moments. Now, the seasoning that I'm going to use today while that's cooking, I'm going to use pink salt. I'm going to use, you guys know I love oregano. I'm going to use garlic pepper, which is going to give us a little spice. I'm going to use Mrs. Dash, and then you guys know I love kick. I'm going to use red pepper, crushed red pepper, and good old-fashioned minced garlic, okay? And then I'm going to add a little butter towards the end, okay? Somebody told me everyone loves butter. So I'm also going to use some soy sauce, okay, towards the end to bring this all together. And I have a lime that I'm going to squeeze over once I'm done. The secret that I use for the lime is I roll this on a hard surface a few times until I get it good and soft. You want this soft so when I cut it to squeeze it over my dish, it's going to be nice and juicy, okay? Okay, just getting these nice and softened. And then remember, this is going to be cooking as well in our dish, but obviously we know bell peppers are kind of stubborn here. It's going to be the stubbornest part of our dish, so give that a few moments. So these are our onions and our mushrooms. We're going to add those last. Okay. Now instinctively, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of oregano. This is my instinct speaking, okay? Just a little bit of oregano to this, okay? Just a little bit. And I'm going to layer my seasoning as I go. Oregano, to me, is a healing herb, healing seasoning. So I just add that into there, okay? And instinctively, I know I'm going to go ahead and add some squash, okay? Now, I'm going to add this just a little bit at a time. I want to layer this around here so I make sure that I don't cool my grill out too fast. Now, I'm going to add this a little slowly, okay? So just a little bit at a time, okay? And it's okay. I sprayed a little bit of avocado spray. You guys know I'm notorious for more avocado spray around the edges. So I'm going to kind of push these in from the side. Be careful, okay, to make sure that I get some layering here. Now, I have some more squash here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of work this in a little bit, okay, because I may have to add some more oil. So let's just be patient with our dish. I like to keep my skillet happy, just like my grill. Kind of toss this a little bit to make sure we get a little coating. You know, I could just toss all this in here, but I'm gonna turn this down a little bit, okay? This is looking beautifully. And the oregano that I added in there is kind of pulling into the squash. And you can see this. I can see the squash is absorbing a little bit of that oil, and that's what we want. So the heat is diffusing, another engineering word, through there. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little bit more, and this is just going to help us get a good consistency. We're going to layer this around, and at this point I can just toss that in. Instinctively, my mind says, you know what? Let's add a little bit of butter. Okay? Now, I could add some oil, but I'm going to add just a little bit of butter here. I'm using my instinct to cook. Okay? Alright. A little bit more. Somebody told me everybody likes butter. Now, if you're screaming at me, oh, that's not going to make it unhealthy. Well, you don't have to add butter to your dish if you don't want to. Now, I'm going to add some Mrs. Dash at this point, because I do not want this to be salty. So I'm going to add some Mrs. Dash. Okay, a little bit heavy because I want my squash to have some flavor. Okay. Now, I don't want to add my onions just yet. Let's toss it a little bit. You hear that sizzle? There we go. Now, at this point, I'm going to toss it to make sure that I have enough oil going around here to coat my veggies that I have in here. Because, as I said, I want to make my audience happy, to make sure that everything it is nice and tender enough. Okay? Now, I still hear the sizzle, so I'm not going to adjust my heat. So I think the heat is going to be good enough. And I can see that my bell peppers are squiggly. In other words, they're heated up good. So now I can focus on the squash. So now I just need to make sure the squash has enough oil. Now the butter definitely is working for me. So we just want to let this simmer a little bit. Now I could cover this. I'm a grill type of guy. I can clearly see that the oil, there's enough oil in here. I don't want to oversaturate it, but you could add some oil at this point. My instinct says add just a little bit of oil. Now, I'm not going to pour the oil in the center. I'm going to pour a little bit on the edge, a little bit on the edge, a little bit on the edge. Okay? Now, I'm not going to stir it. I'm just going to push everything towards the center, making sure I spread it out. Okay? Now, at this point, I am going to cover this, okay? Because I want to make sure that I get the squash and the bell peppers heated to make sure that it's nice and tender. You can tell the squash is done when you look at the center, and you can see the seeds. You can kind of see it transparently going through. Or if you want, you can take a piece out and sample it. Now, when do I add my other seasoning? I'm going to add some salt towards the end, some pink salt later. Like I said, I don't want to oversaturate. And I'm going to add the crushed red pepper last. Those two, they're a little heavy. I'm going to add them last. Now, I'm going to add some garlic, pepper, also towards the end. Okay? So, I'm going to give it a couple minutes. And, you've seen chefs where they shake their pots and things like that. This pot is a little heavy, so I definitely don't want to do that. This is one of the slower dishes. Okay, now that looks wonderful. I'm going to tilt this up so you can see. Look at that. It looks real delicious. Okay, see how I flattened that out? Okay. See how the squash is looking transparent? You see how the bell peppers are squiggly, like I say? So that means they're cooking properly. Now, this is indicating I can add some more vegetables, okay? If things are not looking squiggly, then they're not looking cooked, it's not time to add anymore, okay? This I can dump in because these vegetables are going to cook pretty quickly. So I'm going to dump those in, right on in. All right? Now, I can go ahead and add more seasoning. I'll start with my pink salt. Put that right on the newer vegetables. Not a lot. Okay? Set them to the side. Add a little garlic pepper. Not a lot. Set them to the side. Because remember, we still have the other seasoning. Crushed red pepper towards the center. Okay? Now, Now I'm going to add a little bit more of oregano. Okay, there we go. Come back with some Mrs. Dash. Bam. Okay, now this is where I bring out tons. And I'm going to toss this around. Okay, notice before I was using a spatula, this is just instinct for me. Spatula is when I was using my heavier vegetables, now I'm with my light vegetables. So I'm going to toss, because I don't want to tear up the softer vegetables. But now that I have my mushrooms in there and onions, I kind of want to pick up and drop. Toss and twist. Pick up and toss. Pick up and toss, drop and twist. Almost like I'm doing a dance, right? Yeah. There we go. Now this is looking amazing. Okay. Now once I got this mixed and blended, I don't want to over toss it. Okay. I want you to see what this looks like. I'm just going to cover this. I'm going to drop the temperature down a little bit to medium low, and I'm just going to let this simmer for about 5, no more than 10 minutes, and then that's going to be it. Because I don't want to overcook my vegetables and take all the nutrients out. All right, I'm going to come back in a moment and add a little bit soy sauce. Actually, let's go ahead and do that now. Why not, right? Let's add some soy sauce. And that's going to bring it all together. Okay? Add a little soy sauce. Okay? Toss a little bit. Make sure that soy sauce moves all around. Okay? Oh, that smells good. Okay? Let that simmer 5, no more than 10 minutes. And we'll be back shortly, and we'll see what this looks like. And don't forget, subscribe, Big Moe Kitchen 2026. See you shortly.